Hi, everybody. My name is Holly. I'm your friendly neighborhood Salesforce admin and solution engineer. And today I'm going to talk to you about a super cool, super fun project that I got to do called the Trailvengers. And I'll talk a little bit about the client's background, business needs, and then how I use the Salesforce platform to build out this org, starting from business requirements all the way to a functional end product for my client. Now, who is my client? That is the number one superhero support syndicate in the world called Trailvengers. And they recently reached out to me because they needed an admin to build them a one-stop shop. So they needed one place where they can track all of their superheroes, their needs, the villains that they're fighting, superheroes in training, aka leads or prospects, and then to sell their superhero gear more efficiently. And so I used a very long list of business requirements provided by Trailvengers and coupled that with Salesforce best practices to lay the groundwork to build out this org. So starting from setup and configuration all the way to more complex functionality such as flows. And the end result is a nice and tidy app that I built called Trailvengers HQ. And I'm on the back end of the Trailvengers org right now. And if we go to the app launcher, we can see Trailvengers HQ, the app that I built. And so let's go check it out. Awesome. So this is the homepage. This is what users see every day and night that they log into the Trailvengers HQ app. You'll notice immediately the Trailvengers branding, color schemes are throughout the org. And so users can scroll down and they can get a quick glance at the dashboard. So they can see what sort of superhero gear is being sold and what stage deals might be in. So whether it's the superhero clothing, everyone needs their capes and their superhero masks. Can't go without that. They need their super hammers, throwing stars, that sort of thing. And what's cool is that these dashboard components you can interact with them. So if you hover, you can see more details. You can click on them, and users will be taken right to those specific records to learn more. And if we keep going down this homepage, users can also see what sort of superhero assignments are coming up. So what tasks they can access their calendar right here from their homepage. And what I really like is they can collaborate with each other. So they can create posts, they can create polls, ask questions, engage right here from their homepage without having to navigate away to another tab, another browser, another program. And then we have an activity snapshot. Now, Trailvengers management wanted to be able to log in and immediately see, hey, do I have any items that I need to approve right now? And if we keep scrolling, we can also see some recent superhero gear deals, aka opportunities that are in the works, or even if they're closed won. And people can click on these links here and be taken right to those records. Cool. And if we look up at our navigation bar, we can learn a bit more. So we have some different functionality that our users need. We have our homepage, we have comic book houses, superheroes and villains, gear, villains display, and more. Now, what's super cool is that Salesforce provides really awesome out of the box functionality that suits like many business needs. And so I actually only needed to create one custom object for this org, the headquarters object. And everything else was standard out of the box objects that I just tweaked, modified, added to, hid some things, and then renamed to meet Trailvengers business needs. And so if we look at the comic book houses, this is actually the standard out of the box Salesforce account object. It had much of what Trailvengers required, but I was able to tweak, modify, and rename to meet Trailvengers business needs. Superheroes and villains. So this is, again, a standard out of the box object. This is the contact object. And I renamed it, tweaked a little bit to meet Trailvengers needs. And then we have our gear object. This is the opportunity, the standard opportunity object that I was able to modify and create different business processes, record types, page layouts to better meet Trailvengers sales and support team. We have villains to slay. This is the standard case object, right? This is what Trailvengers is all about, is using their superheroes to vanquish the evil villains of the world. And so they needed to create cases to track the progress, making sure superheroes are getting the support they need. And then we have superheroes in training. This is the standard lead object. Trailvengers needs to constantly recruit for their superhero team. And so when they encounter superhumans with potential, they want to work on converting those superheroes in training to full-on superheroes. And then we have our custom object, the headquarters, where superheroes might be doing business. So that can be tracked. And we have reports and dashboards so that users and management can get a better understanding of all of the data that is in their org and make better executive decisions. And then we have products, right? So they sell superhero clothing, superhero records, and I created some product families to reflect those needs. And then we have a collaboration feature, Chatter. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's look at comic book houses. Let's see what that's about. Right away, we are taken to comic book houses list view. We could change that if we wanted, depending on what we wanted to look at. Right now, we're just looking at the comic book house super list. And if we wanted to, users could create new comic book houses right here, add in the information, but they could also import them from external sources. So if everything was formatted correctly, they can import that. They could print this list view out if they wanted. But right now, let's drill into one of these records. Let's check out Marvel Comics a little bit more. Awesome. So this is what users are greeted with when they land on a comic book house record, aka accounts. They have a quick highlights panel where they can follow the record if they want to be updated every time this record is updated. They can create new contacts, aka superheroes and villains. They can create new cases, aka villains to slay, create notes, right? And so we wanted users to really save time, maximize how they were supporting Trailvengers by making sure that they had this functionality on almost every page in the org. Okay, so if we look a little deeper, we can see related lists. So related items to Marvel Comics or any comic book house. We can see related superheroes and villains to Marvel Comics. And if we drill down a little further, we'd see that not all of these folks are superheroes. And if we keep going, we could view or create new opportunities, aka gear deals. So we could, if we wanted, create a new gear deal right here. And I had created some different record types to reflect the needs of Trailvengers. We're not going to create a new one right now, but we also could view and create a new case or villains display right here from the Marvel Comics comic book house record page. We can view notes and attachments. We could see if there's any related partners to Marvel Comics, all from one spot. And if we look over to the right here, we can see that I added a feature that keeps track if there's any duplicates of accounts, aka comic book houses, because Trailvengers really cares about clean, non-duplicated data. And here's another area where users can track different activities, log calls related to Marvel Comics. And we see right over here that someone has created an event. So a super secret meeting. Someone has logged a call right here. And this is great because Trailvengers often works in teams. And so it's important that all information related to this record or any record is all in one place. All right, so let's drill into the superhero and villains object. Immediately, we are taken to a list view of our superheroes and villains, aka contacts, right? So we get an overview. We could create a new superhero or villain right here from this list view, add in the details, their name, their superhero persona name. Are they a superhero or a villain? This is a required field because management wants to be able to differentiate between the contacts. Are they a superhero? Are they a villain? And then we also have a field here where users can input the superpowers of this superhero or villain, which is really important when determining which superheroes to send out to fight which villains, right? Okay, so we're not going to create one right now because we're going to drill into one of these records. But what's really cool is that users can import a list of superheroes and villains right into the org. They can add different users to campaigns if the marketing department had some campaigns going on, and they can send email lists right here. But let's drill into one of these records. We're going to drill into mine. Okay, so when users land on a superhero and villain record page, they have their highlights panel. So, what's their name, what's their superhero or villain name or title, contact information. They could follow this record. So if they want to be kept abreast of new updates to this record, again, they don't have to navigate away from the page if they want to create a new villain display or case, right? They can add notes, they can submit for approval. And so if we scroll down, we see the different details here, what the superhero name is this contact superhero or villain? So this was a field that I added so that management could better differentiate between their contacts, and then based on their superpowers, know which superheroes to pair against which villains. All right. And if we look to the right, again, I made sure to include these, the activity and collaboration features to these record pages. So all of this information related to this contact can be kept in one place. And you'll notice that we have some tasks. And so like this upcoming and overdue, we have a task of purchase treats for their superhero animal friends, because this superhero can talk to animals. And so we can look at that right here, right? So we can get some more details if we needed to. We can mark it as complete. We can edit, change date. We can even create follow-up tasks. So super cool. So if we go back to that record, we can also see that this user has previously created a case. And I created a flow to send out automated email messages when someone has logged a case. And so that's what this, your help signal has been received. I think I have this open. So this is a message that was sent out based on a flow that I created. And it's attached to our superhero record. Awesome. Okay, so let's take a look into our gear object, aka opportunities. We're brought to a list view. Obviously, this is some just data that I created for these demo purposes. But right here, users have the option to create a new opportunity, aka gear deal, right from this list view. And because I created different record types, they are forced to either choose, is this a weapons gear deal, or is this a clothing gear deal? So we're not going to create one right now. We're just going to drill into one of these records here. So let's do that. Cool. So this is the page that users see when they open an actual opportunity or gear deal, right? We're greeted with a pathway. So I modified a business process, and you can see that here I added a new pick list value to insert into this business process that users need to navigate through to close this deal. So I added the verified clothing size, excuse me. And as they move through, they can mark these stages as complete. And there is a chatter feature because we want our sales team to collaborate with each other, make sure it's always up to date. And then we have our details so users can enter and learn more about this deal. So amount, probability of this deal clothing, and what stage we're in, right? So this is just reflective of the pathway that we have up here. And over to the right, we can also see related lists. So if there's any products related to this deal, quotes generated, that sort of thing, contact roles, and approval history. And then something I did set up was a validation rule, or sorry, an approval process on this object for when the amount is greater than $10,000. And if we look here, we can see that, well, yeah, that's a lot higher than than $10,000. This needs to be submitted to Trailvengers management for approval. And we could do that. We could submit this record for approval right from this record, send it off. And then when managers log in to the Trailvengers HQ app, they can see right on their homepage this record that needs to be approved or denied, right? Okay, very cool. And if we go one more. So now we were looking at a clothing record type before. This is the other record type that I created. So the weapons record type. And here I added a pick list value to verify weapons permit because Trailvengers really wants to make sure that who they're selling to has the appropriate permits so that they can sell their products to. So this is the path that I modified for this business process, and users can navigate through here to close this deal. Now, they also need to submit this record for approval to their managers because, again, it is over $10,000, a lot over $10,000. You can see over here that they have quite a few products, 250 superhero hammers, right? So it adds up, and that needs to be approved by managers. And what's really cool is that users can generate quotes right from this record page based on the products that have been added. And so we can see that a user has already generated a quote for this opportunity, this gear deal, and they'd be able to email that, save it to the record, that sort of thing. All right, so let's dive in a little more. Let's check out our villains display. So this is our case object, right? So we can see that some cases have been logged. We have a supervillain on the rampage. We can see what their status is. We can create a new villain display record or case right from our list view page, add in the details, what the status is, that sort of thing. And then I did send or set up some rules. So I have some active assignment rules. We could send notification emails to superheroes and villains when a case is created. Excuse me. And so I was able to create new email templates, assignment rules, and flows to make sure everyone is notified when they need to be, and that all cases or villains display are being interacted with by our users. So let's drill into one of these records. This is the villain display, so a case record that someone has logged. We can see it has a high priority, the status, so someone called in to log this, to report this activity. And users can, again, they can follow this record, they can submit for approval. And if we go down to the related list, so the related items to this record, we can see if there's any open activities, but we can also create them. So we can create new tasks, new events right here. We don't have to have users navigating away and having 1,000 tabs open like I do right now. And then what the activity history is for this record. So we can see right here that someone has received the help request call and they logged that. We can see if there's any case comments. In this case, there is. We see that a superhero requested a team of 5 superheroes to aid in rampaging a villain. Will submit for approval, right? Because Trailvengers wants management to sign off when superheroes have requested more than a team of 3. We can upload attachments and files here, and then we can also view the case history. And looking over to the right, users, again, have the opportunity to track activities, create activities right from this record page. All right, moving along to superheroes in training, aka leads. So Trailvengers needs a way to consistently recruit to their superhero team, right? So they need superhumans that have potential, might have some superpowers, but need to be nurtured, and so they can recruit them to their team. Awesome. So we could create a new lead, aka superhero in training, right here from this list view. Fill out the appropriate information and save. We're not going to do that today because we're just demoing, but users also have the option to import superheroes in training, aka leads. So let's say there's a marketing event, or they're at Comic-Con and they're trying to recruit more folks to their team. They could import like an Excel or Google Sheets document into the org. They can add superheroes in training to campaigns. If they had those marketing efforts going on, they can change statuses, owners, and that sort of thing. But let's dive into this record that I created for Junior Powers, who goes, he's at the Superhero Drill Academy, and we have this information. But users are greeted with a pathway to follow. I didn't actually need to modify this support process. This out of the box functionality worked well for Trailvengers, but this is the path that users need to follow to hopefully, right, convert this superhero in training to a full-on superhero. Hopefully not villain, right? But users can collaborate with each other to figure out maybe the best ways to convert the superhero in training to a full-on superhero. They can see details about Junior Powers, what his persona might be, and if he's related to a campaign, right? And again, here is yet another record page where users can choose to follow. They can create cases or villains to slay, submit for approval, that sort of thing. And moving on to headquarters, right? So the places that our superheroes might be doing business, the super secret bat caves, Atlantis, or whatever it might be, that would be our headquarters. And so we can drill into one of these records, and users are greeted with any notes and attachments that might be related to this headquarter. They can create new superheroes and villains, or view any that might be related to this headquarter object. And again, they have a way to create and track their activities. They can create a new contact or superhero and villain, and cases. And moving on to reports, I did create some reports requested by Trailvengers so that they can always keep an eagle eye on what their opportunities are looking like, aka gear. And so they wanted to see their gear records by stage and record type. And so let's just actually dive in. So here's a report I created for Trailvengers, really simple, but it is, let me move my giant head out of the way. We can see that I created a simple report to track by record type. So the opportunity record type, clothing. We can see a breakdown by stage, right? So qualification, close one. We can see opportunity name, comic book house name, the amount with a grand total here. And I created this report ultimately for the dashboard that you saw on the homepage. Here's another report. So again, by record type, but it's by weapons this time, the weapons record type. We can see what stage those deals are in, the opportunity name, the amount. We can see, wow, Trailvengers is doing really well with their superhero weapon sales, right? Great. And then here is where I combine the two. So where we can really see side by side, compare clothing deals to weapons deals. We can again see what stage each of them are in and the amount, right? So we can look at their subtotals, or management can look at the subtotals and see, holy guacamole, our superhero weapon sales are doing really great. And our clothing is doing okay, but maybe we can do something to beef up our marketing efforts to increase those sales. And one more, this is really simple. I needed to import a bunch of superheroes and villain records into this org. So I created this simple report so I can get the record IDs for these comic book houses and then use VLOOKUP in Excel to make sure all my records have the correct record type. And then here is a report that I created so managers can look at whether a contact is a superhero and a villain, and then see how many, what their superhero titles are, comic book house, and then what their superpowers are. And this is really cool because management can now, and support teams, can look at the superpowers of the different superheroes and villains and then pair the appropriate superhero to the appropriate villain. Super cool. And so I used these reports to generate a dashboard called the Gear Opportunity Pipeline. And we can look at, not this, I'm on the wrong page, y'all. Let's dive in. All right, I think we got there. I think we're getting to the dashboard. Yes. All right. Move my face over here. So this is the dashboard that I created based on three reports. So users, particularly management, can look in and really drill into the deals that they have and what stages they're in. What's like right here, we have 600K in the qualification stage for clothing and weapons deals. We can see the different stages that they're at. And it's all beautifully branded. And what's really cool about the Salesforce dashboards is that they're interactive. So you hover, more information pops up, and then you can click and be taken to the appropriate records. And one final thing, you'll notice, I really haven't mentioned this yet, but users have a utility bar where they can access recent items. They can see if there's any bat signals or cases received, and then they can log a villain right here. So no matter what page they're on, so we're on the dashboards tab right now. Let's say someone calls in, they can, right from their utility bar, log a case, fill in the appropriate information, and would generate that case or villain to slay. There we go. All right, everyone, thank you so much. I've had a lot of fun with this project, the Trailvengers. I do want to thank Talent Stacker and Alex, who originally created this project and that I was able to modify and have a lot of fun with. So thank you everyone for watching. Bye.